Hello guys, this is Wire69501. Welcome to my channel. The comic book that I'm gonna display was published in 1996, and it is space here. Spawn issue number 41. Check out that cover. I'm going to show you some pages from the inside, and this is done by, the story is done by Todd McFarlane, and the pencils by Greg Capullo. Look at this page here. Look at that. Let's pass another page here. Let me show you this one here. Here. Okay. Excuse me a second here. It's not important. Okay. This is, I guess, like a video response. Yeah. It's a video response to a video that I saw last week, and it is a very interesting topic. And the video is from howlermouse, and he was comparing the old comic books with the new comic books. In all the phases of what a comic book is about: storytelling, art, everything. And he compares I think it was 1970 or 1980s Justice League America comic book versus the new Justice League. And I agree with everything that howlermouse says. Then after that video was posted, I think a day later, I saw a video response from sleepyreader666 talking about giving his point of view of the topic from howlermouse. And then after sleepyreader posted his video, then I saw another video talking about the same topic from Shadow Gallery. Now, if some of you don't know howlermouse or sleepyreader666 or the Shadow Gallery, subscribe to their channel. They are fun to watch. They are good. They are very good videos. So this video is gonna give my thoughts about the topic, about the old comic books and the new ones. I'm not talking about the new ones, or let's say the new 52. So I'm gonna show you. I got 3 paperbacks here. I bought it back in the 90s. It was called The Essential, whether it was Avengers, Hulk, or Spider-Man. Yeah, they are black and white, you know. This is volume 1, I believe so, from the Avengers back in the 60s. I believe that these are back from the 60s. I believe so. I have no idea. Well, they're 60s, 70s. Uh, I believe so. If some of, any of you knows about what year is this? I believe it's from the 60s. But it don't matter. 60s, 70s, 80s, it don't matter. They're all good breeds. So, about the old comic books. Well, they were more simple storytelling, and I'm giving you this because I years ago I read those three paperbacks, so I got an idea in a way to compare the old comic books with the new comic books. Now back then, and these are black and white, but the detail is still the same. And I have to say that the old comic books, they were a little bit more simple in the sense of, I believe this is done by Jack Kirby. It is? I'm curious about this. This is the cover. Yeah, it has to be the link. This is the cover. So I believe this is done by, what says here? I think it's done by Jack Kirby, maybe? Yes, it's done by Jack Kirby. So the way that the storytelling was done back then, they were a little bit more simple, in a sense that they will go straight to the point. They will go to straight to the point to certain extent. As far as I can tell, the art was more simple. They will put more panels, more balloons, more caption, more of everything on a page. Its own title. And this is Hulk. This is Incredible Hulk #1. Now they were, like I said, they have more panels back then. They would go more straight to the point. There was not that much detail as today, panel wise, and there were no splash page. Maybe on the first page, it's not a splash page. Let's say a full page, like this one here. Okay. This is Hulk issue #1. This is the first page on the inside. As I said, I will continue the story. So the stories, they were more simple to tell. They will go straight more to the point and get it done, boom, for the next story. And yes, they were cheaper back then, even from the 90s. The last comic book I bought from DC Comics back in the 90s was $1.95. Except for Valiant Comics that back then in the 90s they all cost $2.25. No, that was expensive. Back in the 90s. Now it's now $2.99. Just a standard, it's a standard price for all comic books. But it's hard to compare the old comic books with the new comic books. It's not easy, at least for me, because I cannot say that the old comic books they are better than the one of today. Because if I would say that, I will not give the new comic books the credit that it deserves. The same thing, I cannot say that today comic books are a lot better than the old comic books because I will not give enough credit for the old comic books. So whether they are better, the old and the new, or vice versa, for me, both are the same, is on the same level. Because we're talking, I'm talking about two different generations here. This is the old generation, different type of writing, different type of art, and different type of storytelling that was the way back in the 60s, 70s, or 80s. Because if you look at the comic books, these are from the 60s. Maybe you look at the 70s and the storytelling, it might be different from the 60s. And here we go again. This is a question that will go over and over and over every 10 or 15 years, or 12 years. Now you compare the comic books from the 80s with the 70s, you will say, well, the 80s are a lot better than the 70s, and here we go again, and so on and so forth. We can go up to the 90s. What do you think about the 90s? Yes, the 90s, it was like a boom for the comic books. It was crazy back in the 90s. It was a lot of gimmick, a lot of shiny covers, and there were so many comic books and so many titles. It was unbelievable. It was crazy. But between all that craziness, a lot of good story came out of the 90s, and some great artists too that today are well-known artists that nowadays are great artists and great writers. So this is a question that you can go and discuss it every 10 years. And the thing is that the way that they used to do back then, and I'm talking about this one here, maybe I'm going way back, because that's the only thing, this is the only thing I can use as a reference, because I don't have any comic books from the 70s or 60s, 50s, I don't. So the comic book from this era, from this generation, they are good to a certain point. It's not their bad. Like I said, this is a different way of thinking as now. Back then they were more conservative, maybe. Plus there was I don't know when that came out. The comic code, whatever. Excuse me. But it was a different generation. It was a different generation in every sense of the word. Because I can compare, I would compare the comic books with movies. In a way. Back before the special effects, the movie makers had to rely more on the storytelling. That's why you take a movie, old movie, whether it's black and white, or maybe before late 60s, it relies more on storytelling than shooting and special effects. Nowadays, you watch a movie, you got more special effects than storytelling. You got more visual than storytelling. Because nowadays, the same thing happened with the comic books. The way that they're doing it, this is the new, I can call it generation, because as far as I know of the comic books is all the way to the year 2000. And I came back with the comic books with the new relaunch, which was last year. So that makes that I haven't read a comic book, excuse me, I didn't read a comic book for 10 years. And then I came back with the new relaunch. And the way that they're doing the comic books nowadays, just like the movies, is more splash page. Of course, it got more expensive. Now, on the comic books, they use a lot of special effects, computer special effects, in the sense the color separation, the way that they color the environment to give it that sense that it's kind of like a real life picture. That it cannot be done back in the 60s or 70s, because there were no computers back then. The computer came out what? In the early 90s, I think it was, or late 80s. So you see here, look the way this page is here. It's all background. It's all what I call special effects. It's all environment. It's not much storytelling here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 caption, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 balloons on 2 pages. Look at that. Now let's take any page here, 2 pages, and look at all the information that you have now. You got a bunch of reading. You got a lot of reading. A lot. And not much of environment. It's more concentrated on the main character. That's how things were done back then. But now it's more visual and less reading. Because I don't know if that's a new way or that's a standard way to make comic books now, that maybe this new generation of comic book readers, let's say the next 15, 16 years old, or maybe 20 years, maybe they don't like to read too much. So the comic book companies are relying more on visual, more than storytelling. And believe me, I love this. I like this. All that caption, all those balloons, I love it. I love it. Because I like reading. But, so now talking about the new comic books, yes, they are a lot better than the one before. In a sense of art style and the way that the pages are done. Look at that page. A lot of stuff. It's like watching a movie. a lot of special effects, a lot of explosion. See, okay. Okay, excuse me. So the storytelling nowadays are completely different than before. Oh yeah, you know the sense of word. Now, the storytelling back then, it is better or worse than today? I would say are the same. This is a different generation. This is the new generation. Maybe you could take a person that uh, you give him a comic book from the 60s or 70s, he might like it because, oh my god, this is our comic book. But maybe you give it to that person to read it, and he will say, it's just too wordy. Too many words. Oh my god. Just too many words. And it is too many words. Comic books nowadays, they will take it. Okay, I'm done. Because for each page you got 4 or 5 balloons to caption, and all the rest goes visual. So the only comic book that I wish that the comic book now we have both storytelling in the modern time. I mean, let's say, for example, Spark. Look, even Spawn back in the 90s had more balloons than the one nowadays. Look at it. Look at it. It has more balloons and more captions than the one from today. And that's the thing about the old comic books and the new comic books. Come on. Okay. Yeah. Stay. Except, except for some specific titles that they have a lot of balloons. But I think that nowadays people don't like to read too much. And this book is from 1996, 1993. And look all those balloons. So I don't know. So nowadays, like I said, they rely more on visual, more visual and less reading. So yes, it gets expensive, way expensive, just because of the fancy paper. Because now the paper is shiny looking. Come on. I mean, company sells comic book not because of the shiny paper. It's because of the storytelling. That's it. So this new generation of storytelling is more visual and less words. And also saw the video from sleepyreader666, and what he says, I agree with him in everything that he says. And what Shadow Gallery says, I also agree everything that he says. I mean, everybody's right. I mean, that the olds are better than the new ones? Yes, to a certain point. That the new ones are better than the old ones? Yes, to a certain point. One, the old ones and the new ones will never gonna be better. They're always gonna be side by side. Now that there might be some specific superhero or specific storyline, yes, okay, I can go with that. But overall, I have to say that I like both. But like I said, this is the old generation. First generation of comic books, to put it that way. Talking at least on for Marvel Comics. And this is the new generation, where they rely it's more like, when I say it's more visually, you got more blood, more gore on comic books. You even have sex on the comic books. You know, just and some people think that the old comic books, they are better in a way that you can take your son or daughter, 6 years old son or daughter, and you can give him these old comic books without thinking. Here, you can read it and have fun, and you will not worry about it. Now, the bad things about the new comic books is you cannot give a comic book to your let's say 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, because of the violence that it has, the blood, and sex to a certain point. Now you give that same kid or comic book from the old generation, and you can go to bed, because you don't have to worry about it. Was a different generation. Now it's more liberal, more just like the movies, same thing, same thing. You go to the movies and you see more special effects than storytelling. That's it. Because now we got computers. Now those movie makers, they can create environments that before it could never be done. So the same thing goes with the comic book. Now they are relying on computers to give it color, to color separation, to make some parts of the environment a little bit glare or less glare. That's it. So I cannot say that the new ones are better than the old ones. I can't. And I cannot say that the old ones are better than the new ones, because I can't. I like both of them. Just two different generations. That's it. Just two different generations of comic books, of artists, and storytelling. That's it. And yes, I agree what howlermouse, Sleepy Reader, and Shadow Gallery said. They are 100% correct, and I agree with all of them. But, and yes, the new ones are better to a certain point. In a sense, yes, it's more eye candy. Whether it's done by pencil or by computer, well, you need somebody on the computer to do that. So now the storytelling is that, I think what Shadow Gallery, I think that he says that the way that they're running the comic books nowadays are written for trade paperbacks. Because if you notice, most trade paperbacks, they are between 6 and 7 comic books. That means that each art is 6 or 7 comic books. So each art it means one trade paperback, one trade. So maybe a story that it might take 4 issues, whether they like it or not, they have to spread them out for 6 issues. So that way they can make a trade. That's the only part. But the trade back in the 90s, I didn't like it because they take you different kind of comic books from the same superhero and make a trade. Oh, the best story about this, this and that, but there were no continuity. Now trades nowadays, they have the continuity. You got the first arc, second arc, third arc, and so on and so forth. So today trades, I would say they are a lot better than the one from the 90s because there were a lot of trades. Oh, the best stories of the Joker from 1950 to whatever. So, eh. Well, guys, I hope that you liked the video. Ooh, and remember, if some of you that are watching this video, you are not subscribed to howlermouse or sleepyreader666 or the Shadow Gallery channel, subscribe to their channel. You're gonna like it. You're gonna love those videos. Well, guys, this is it. I hope that you like the video, and this video was my take. I think that's how it's called. I don't know. My thought about the topic of old comic books versus new comic books. Well, guys, I hope that you like the video. Till next time. Bye.